This is an advanced roofing guide for Sons of the Forest. I'm going to show you all sorts of tips and tricks and techniques to make your roofs way more beautiful, way more advanced looking in this game. So the first thing when making a roof, obviously, is to think about the structure underneath of it, because you can't make any decent roof without a structure that supports that type of roof. So always want to plan ahead. But let's start with some basic stuff here. So let me just throw down some logs here. So we'll start with what you know is the standard roof, which is going to be to have, put one here, and we'll put one right here. And then we'll need supports for them. There's obviously the generic just flat roof, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with, which is to just put down logs in a square and then add on planks. Now, this is the concept of roofs, is you just put on planks on top of this. I'm not going to actually make these planks right now because this is a basic roof. I don't want to put planks on this. If you want to make a more advanced roof, though, then there's the angled roofs, which is to have, well, let's see. We can do it a few different ways. Let's do it like this. So we can put this down, and we can put one right here, and then we can grab two more logs, and then we can have it right here and right here, and then we can put the planks on at this angle, and then we'd have the angle. Now, if you want to change this angle, what you're going to do is you're going to chop this down. So if I chop this down by a fourth, now the angle of the roof is going to be like this. If I want, even like smaller slant, then I'll chop it down to a half log. And now we've got an even smaller slant on the roof. Or if you want the smallest possible slant, you can cut it down to a third, which is kind of hard to find the cut for, but you get the point. I could make a third if I wanted to, or a fourth, I mean, if I wanted to, and make like a almost not even an angled roof at all. It's like barely angled at all. So that's like the basics of roof building. Make sure you know this before we go into this. The next big thing with making roofs is you've got to know how to make struts. If you want to have your roofs connect well with your building, then you're going to want to have struts. Now, in order to do struts, there's a few things to know. The maximum that you can remove are these middle two. You can only have it be 4 or 3 logs long. And also, if there's anything on top of a middle one, then it's not going to want to let you pick it up. Even in this case, I have this sideways one. Can't pick it up because of that. You got to completely do that. You got to pick up the struts first before you start adding on the other pieces. So now what you could do is you could have struts over here, and then you could connect, the logs over to there, and then you could add a roof and have the minimum amount of random support beams. Now, struts for roofs can get actually really crazy. What we can do is we can bring this whole thing up another level, and then we could potentially remove the strut in order to have roofs that are hanging very high in the sky without those ridiculous supports coming down that you've probably seen in lots of videos and stuff. So if we just, in order to do this, we're going to have to do a few things. So I'm going to pick this up. We're just going to do this one first. So put that on there, and then we're going to take this one off for now, put this on, put that on, and then we're going to remove these struts. And then what we can do, just to show the example of how struts work, is we can prop this up, and if we provide support to the edges, then we can, I think we have to put back down the struts in the bottom to be able to pick them up. So I could do this, and then we don't need that, and then I can't pick it up until I put another one down right here. But if I put one down right here, which I think is bugged, unfortunately, so we got a weird issue with this one where it's bugged out. So you're going to have bugs as early access, but you should be able to put one down and then remove this, and then we could remove all of these pieces, basically. Early access, I tell you. So in order to fix this, I have to build this outside supporting structure. Then I can put the strut back in and take these things off. So now what I have to do is do the same thing over here. So I just have to make a nearby structure, something like this, and then prop it up, and then put one over right next to it, and then I can connect that to here. And once I do that, then I can put the strut back in. Then I can try to remove all the pieces that are attached to the strut in order to make it look, a little less close in. Oh my god, the bugs with this. And now this one, I can't remove anything. Oh my god, early access. But yeah, to remove the second strut here, we've got to have something else connecting, because in order to make it too high, it has to have at least one connector to it. So now that I do that, I should be able to remove this, thankfully. I'll have to find a way to remove this, because this is bugged out of its mind now for no reason. But so then you do that, and you can see now you could build a roof on top of this without having to have those obnoxious support beams holding your roof up. I see what happened here. So I tried to build to the side, and somehow it did this. And so it somehow was trying to make... it thought it was the previous strut. So now I'm going to have to do some crazy stuff to get rid of this. All right, well, that was a lot of work. Be careful. I had to put a log inside of a log. It thought it was this. Just be careful when trying to build... Like, don't try to build structures underneath of a strut like this. It can really mess things up. But you can try. Just be aware. It's going to really go crazy sometimes. So I started building up here for the actual roof part, doing the double strut again. And we had this... Again, we get stuck. So I just made this, like... almost enclosed square, and then it let me remove this thing. So just be aware when playing with struts, you're gonna get all sorts of weird issues. So now we got the same thing going on with this one over here. So I decided to redo these and try to do a little bit of testing here real fast with this. So I thought maybe if I remove one and then the other, so what if we remove the top one and then remove the bottom one? Will that make it possible to remove it without any issues? That worked out. So what if we tried the bottom one and then the top one? Actually, I don't see any reason we could do the bottom one and the top one. So I guess just set it all up ahead of time and then do them, or else things are going to get really buggy. So specifically do the struts by themselves, then pull all the pieces out, or else you're going to run into some really weird issues. But there we go. Okay, now it's looking good. All right, so now I'm at this point. So let's try making half logs and then putting half logs on there. So now that we have half logs on here, we can add on these. We don't even need those under beams. We just can do like that. And then we can take logs and we could go ahead and put planks in like this. So this is a way you can make a roof that's much higher with way less supports to make it much cleaner looking, is by doing it with this method right here that I'm showing you. So this is like a decently advanced roof, but there's some more stuff we can get into that's actually like really obnoxious how complicated it gets. But yeah, so you could build a roof on that and it's going to look really good depending on what structure it's attached to. So another extremely advanced tip, say this middle one, I don't want it to be a roof. Maybe I just want roofs on the side, and this one's actually going to be more of a box. Well, you go here, it'll want to prop it up like this. So instead what you do is you'll place that down, like just you can just put down one plank. But you know, obviously by default it puts two when you use a log. But you can just put down one plank, then you come back up, and then it will let you place logs like this and that. Then from there, what you're going to do in this particular case would be that you're going to cut one of these logs in half, and then on the top half, so grab these two logs, and on the top half, we should be able to put these down right here and right here, and then we can just put logs here, and we could actually have this be a like, you know, a room or whatever, and then those are like whatever. So you get a room right here, and the roof's right beside it. You don't need the roof to be the whole way, and this is how you could do that and support that without, while still having roofs on the sides, because you got to have this angled one to support those ones. So it's got to be like that. Also, obviously, once you have this down, you can go ahead and remove those. You don't need those in the middle piece anymore. Also, with this piece, if instead of a box you wanted a balcony, you could actually have placed half logs right here, and then you could have placed a log across, and then a log across, and then, you know, attach it to your structure in such a way that would create a balcony. You could remove this, and then, yeah, just have an actual balcony here. You know, I think the balcony will look cooler anyway. Let me show you the balcony while I'm here. Might as well. It's a guide. Let's do balcony. They'll take this off now, put this on, and then we'll take this one off, and we'll put it down here. And then we just need to grab more logs. And what we'll be able to do now is place them across right here and right there. And then we can grab a log for the balcony. And then all we got to do now is put a floor on this thing. Down there. Oh, not there. Not there. So that's where we ran into an issue with roofing. I forgot. This is another thing I wanted to explain. Is so to make a balcony, we're going to have to do something complicated, because we need to have 3 here. We need to have this middle one, this angled one, and we need the one underneath. And since we didn't put the one underneath, now if you did it late like this, you're going to have to tear everything up and start over. Because that one's got to go down first. I'll show you the process after I tear it down. Okay, so now it's all torn down. What I need to do is take these up, and for now, just, I don't know, put them off to the side or something if it'll let me. It's not going to let me, so I'm just going to have to throw them down. I'll get a moment. All right, and so then what we can do is we can jump across, or not jump across, have to jump across. We need to get to the front side now and get those ones I have set up over there. And we have to do this first. So we have to come over here, grab these, and we have to put them across here first. In order to put it across, we'd actually have to do it before we remove the struts. So I don't know, with struts, we might not be able to do it. So instead, we're going to have to do this by just putting the floor by itself like this and then adding the pieces back on. If you're not playing with struts, you'll be able to put down pieces right now like this, but on this side. Or maybe, no, never mind. No, yeah, okay. So yeah, you can't put the ones across unless there's the supporting struts. So, and if you do that, it'll probably bug it out. So with struts, like I said, with struts, you do this. If you don't have struts, then you can just go ahead and make the actual square with the logs, and it should just work out fine. So do this first, like that, and then we can start putting all the other pieces back on. So just as a reminder here, we put those down first, then we put these angled ones. Then we have to tie them down with some kind of boards in order to get it so that the other UI will appear so we can put what we want. So we'll have to put a board over here and a board over here, but I might as well put all those down. Then after that, we can grab these half logs. And we can go up here and we can put down the half logs right here, right there. Then we can grab, not those, we can grab normal logs. And we can come up here and we can put one here. We can put one here, and then we have another one over there and start putting on all the planks. And you'll see that now we have a roof structure like this that has no supports under it that you can put way up high. I mean, there's so many things you can do, so many different ways that you can do it, but these texts right there are extremely helpful. Those are like the most common ones you'll be using. So now I'm going to attempt to put another layer of struts because we're going to bring that roof up a little bit higher. And while I'm at it, I'm going to show you some more techniques that you can do. I was going to make a strut that's actually a level higher than this, but I decided against it. I don't really see any reason. I mean, we already have a ceiling to our base that we're making here, or our demo base. So there's no point in just bringing up the ceiling even higher. So I'm going to go up here now, though. What we want to do is, yeah, we could just put these down and have the roof continue at the same angle as that. Since those are halves, they'll go to another half. But what I would rather do is have them go up steeper, so that you can see how we can do roof transitions of different angles. So to do this, I had to add another layer of support. Now this can look any number of ways depending on how you're building your structure. Since I'm just making a demo structure, I just had to make the big scaffolding like that. No, now I can put these across like this. I mean, I probably could have already done that, but now what I need to do is I need to put a half log. So we're in a weird situation here. So we're building outside of the normal grid because that is going to connect not to that, but on top of that. So what we can do here, in order to do this, the maximum height is going to be a full-size log. So we have a half going to a full, which is only half of the max height. So if we add a log like this, then we, in theory at least, should be able to connect a normal log to it, which I've never done this exact setup. So we'll see if this exact setup has any bugs or anything. But it does not. We can go ahead and we can put that on just like I was expecting. And then we can put a roof on it right there, and that'll look really good. And because of this balcony, we have to make some decisions on weird things to do here. So we could either just not have a roof here, or we could put on like half beams right here, and then have the middle part of the roof be at a different angle than the side pieces of the roof, which I might as well do just to show you how the advanced roofing works. So in order to do that, oh, actually, come to think, it's going to let us do it right now, right out of the gate, which is kind of weird. But normally what I would expect to have happen, at least, is we have to lay down some planks on the side. But in this case, we don't have to, which is fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut one of these in half, and then we're going to put half planks on those pieces. All right, so now we're going to put a half piece right there, and we're going to put a half piece right there, and then we can come down and we can grab normal logs, and then we can head back up, and we can attempt to connect it, although it looks like it wants to connect into that. So we might not be able to do it until we put those down. Actually, we're in a weird situation here now. So I'll have to look at this one for a sec. So I've never ran in this exact scenario, and I'm thinking of a solution here that I don't feel like testing right now, which is instead of putting a full-size log, so you see how we put those full-size logs down there on that layer? There's one there and there's one over there. If instead those were, say, a 3/4 log with like we could put a 3/4 log and then we could put another 3/4 log on top of it with the cross beam being down one layer, and then the system wouldn't want to connect to it like that. So another solution, alternative solution, is you can just put that on like that, and then we can grab another half, put the half back on, and then we can put this on like that. And then what you could do is you could use this junction as a guiding point for these roof tiles. So you would just have the roof start right here on this piece and not go any lower than that. And then that would allow you to have, and it might actually end up looking better that way, come to think of it. So if we then put the last piece on, if it'll let me, doesn't want to let me put this last one on. There we go. It was red, but it put it on anyway. So you could then, you know, just have the roof start right there, assuming you're not making a staircase coming out of this balcony, but a cut staircase going up. But yeah, so you can just do that, stuff like that, in order to make it work. And also, alternatively, you know, you could just not even have these if you prefer the look. You could just take this off, take this off, take that off, take that off, and just rely purely on the boards themselves to guide your, you know, height. So, like, that'd be about as low as you can go, and then you could just have that, and then you could just start filling in all the other roof pieces. And there we go. It has all the pieces on it. It has a balcony. You can see here what I'm talking about with some advanced roofs. We have struts. You know, you don't have to have those hideous wall supports everywhere for your roofs. So that allows you to make like overhangs and things like that. So I think this is pretty good, guys. It's a good stopping place. I hope this helped you out. There were so many advanced roofing tips in this video that I've learned over the days and whatever of playing this. I hope they come in handy for you. Hopefully they'll help you build your structures. If they did, check out the description of this video for other helpful Sons of the Forest videos, log dupes, other building guides, advanced building guides, zipline, fast travel systems, all sorts of stuff. Also, if you want to support me, just check out Art Gallery Simulator on Steam. There's a link for that in the description of the video. It's a game I'm making. Just go there and wishlist it. That would help me out a lot. But that's it, guys. This has been my advanced roofing guide for Sons of the Forest. Hopefully now you can get out there and make some really crazy roofs.